felonies, no evictions.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Talks Too Much with Third Party Studios. We have got some stuff to talk about today. The Star Wars director has been going on a man-hating rampage. The Jamie Marchi, the voice actress who's covered so much of the anime community, has also joined in the fight and has been just going on this parade of how she is just entitled to change all of the meaning of all things that crosses her desk. And then the first time in history Tetris has been defeated by a human. We are going to talk about some of these things and probably a few other things. Slim is not with us today. We have a friend of the channel who's been on before. We have Snipeaholic. Thank you for being here, buddy. Appreciate you joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Always. And then in the other corner, someone who I wish wasn't here, the Cody.
Yeah, I don't want to be here either.
We want you here. I'm just messing. I think the biggest news and the thing that's probably the most important to talk about is probably the Star Wars controversy. So the Star Wars director that they hired to make the new Rey movie is
first they're doubling down with making a Rey movie, which nobody liked the last trilogy.
No, I don't think.
But it's to make you uncomfortable.
Yeah,
they just want to make me uncomfortable.
yeah. So the director, the director said that as long as if she's making men uncomfortable, she's doing her job.
That was an interview from 8 years ago when
know.
she was promoting one of her documentaries.
Yeah, she had a.
So it's a little out of context, but because she does a lot of.
Has it changed much?
Yeah. Hasn't changed at all.
No, she hasn't changed much.
She's the same person.
So it's relevant.
But she's like promoting how women are treated in like Pakistan and shit like that.
And I mean, to be fair, the Pakistan stuff, I mean, I don't know anything about her history before Star Wars except that she was a semi-successful documentary creator. And she was fighting the fight against the burqa. So I mean, I'm very anti-burqa. I was like, no, none of that shit.
Free the nipple.
Free the nipple. Free the burqa. All of it's got to go. All of it's got to go. No, I don't. That's not really what matters. The point is that she's in Star Wars now. She's going to be heading up the main Star Wars, the new Star Wars trilogy that's going to be featuring Rey. Like you said, Cody, the thing no one freaking wants. And honestly, have you guys come across a single person who has given even a moderate take on the sequel Star Wars trilogy?
One guy.
Who's that?
We're not friends with him anymore, but
just after that opinion.
This was the reason. Yeah, this was the
Last
cause.
Jedi was cinematic masterpiece.
You know how like some people will be like, I like Star Wars and then like they can list off like, oh, I like anime, I like video games.
Yeah.
Like this guy was, I like Star Wars. Period.
That's it.
That was the extent of like
it's
the
like
enjoyment.
I like Turtle Kid.
Oh my goodness.
I like Star Wars.
I like Star Wars. I like Star Wars. But like that's all he liked, and so he loved them because it was more Star Wars.
Right.
See,
I think he was like too brainwashed to understand like they were just bad.
I can see like you have that same mentality with like a Harley Davidson rider. It's like,
oh,
I don't care
yeah.
about anything other than motorcycles, specifically Harleys.
Yep.
Right? And if Harley Davidson got together with Bud Light and put Dylan Mulvaney on the side of their bike, they'd probably still get excited about it and ride that hard.
Yep.
But
They'd ride it harder.
they'd ride it even harder. But I mean, the idea that that's the same way with like content, it's incredibly interesting. I mean, if you were how old is this guy?
He's about a year or two older than me.
So like
32.
early 30s.
Yeah, early 30s.
Okay, so early 30s. You know, those people grew up on the Star Wars prequel trilogy, not the original trilogy. Obviously, that's like 30 years apart. But the Star Wars prequel trilogy is pretty, like, it's good Star Wars. I mean, it's good content. I mean, there's plenty to critique about it. I'm not saying it's perfect. The original Star Wars trilogy is a masterclass in good storytelling, I think, and I think great characters too. But once you hit this most frequent slew of Star Wars content, I don't understand how you don't jump off. How you don't be personally offended by the fact that all this content is just shitting on everything you grew up loving.
Yeah, I jumped off after episode 2 of Mandalorian season 2.
I thought
it was like, this is just a fetch quest simulator. I could be playing a game and doing the exact same shit with better storytelling.
Are you saying that's when you stopped caring or when you stopped watching?
That's when I just stopped everything Star Wars.
Okay, because I thought you finished season 2.
No.
Oh, okay.
I've yet to watch The Mandalorian. I just can't get on the hype train.
It was all right. I don't know why.
My wife loves it. You know, she's a big
Baby Yoda fan. Oh,
Was she
fucking
Well,
wearing
and
a
who-
Baby
who
Yoda?
drop
No,
kick that
so-
midget.
That was Sydney.
Okay,
my child.
one of your kiddos was wearing a
Yeah.
Baby Yoda.
My youngest loves Baby Yoda. We got her Build-A-Bear Baby Yoda. I'm
It's
Baby Yoda.
understandable.
Well, we have like a Yoda blanket.
Yeah.
Why does Baby Yoda look this way? And I was like, 'cause that's actually just Yoda.
I hate it. I hate it.
That's the real one.
Yeah, that's my memory of Yoda, and yours is a little thing that like just floats around in a little ball. Like we have different memories of Yoda.
You know, other things, something else that we're probably not going to spend too much time on is that Mickey Mouse became public domain.
Oh yeah.
And I know we're probably not going to spend too much time on this. I'm just bringing it up, like, what you grow up with versus what your kids will grow up with. I, as a baby, was given a Mickey Mouse blanket, and it was...
I had a pillow.
Yeah. So we were given stuff as babies that obviously we cherished or held on to, or our parents put in the closet for, like, our kids someday to have.
Yep.
And I'm thinking about it. My Mickey Mouse blanket is going to be really weird held up against all the public domain stuff that people are making to just trash Disney right now.
Yeah.
The 2024 is going to be a really interesting year in the context of like Mickey Mouse content. They're going to make Mickey Mouse horror films. They're going to make Mickey Mouse video games, all of which are going to come from independent creators who have been waiting for their opportunity to punch Disney in the face.
I know.
This is it. This is taking your mascot and whacking you over the head with it.
I know this is like left field, but it's like in relation. Do you guys know who like Meat Canyon is?
Yeah. Wait. It's a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
He makes pretty like
Grotesque.
I think it's kind of yeah. I was gonna say raunchy. I know him. I'm subscribed to him. I don't. He has to have a really catchy thumbnail or title in order to get me to try most of his content.
Almost all of it I love because it's the reason I love it so much is because like the Bugs Bunny one. Warner Bros. Came after him for copyright, and he's like, "You're saying that this Bugs Bunny is your property?" And he was talking about some just raunchy stuff. And when everything goes public domain, I'm such a fan of the public domain.
So,
like Winnie the
Right.
Pooh when that came out, public domain.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
a solid 6 months of good stuff.
I thought Winnie the Pooh was just getting a bunch of movies. I actually didn't realize it became public domain until this second.
That's why we had that. Why is there so much Winnie the Pooh stuff public domain?
I didn't realize that. I mean,
Pretty sure, yeah. Like
the
that's-
same thing happened with Sherlock Holmes. I mean, that became public domain, and all of a sudden there's 3 different shows on the CW. There's the show on BBC. There's the Robert Downey Jr. movies. Which is better in your opinion, the Robert Downey Jr. movies or the Benedict Cumberbatch series? Did you watch either?
I like the RDJ ones.
Boo.
I know it's not the normal take on it.
Actually, that's the problem. It is the normie take.
Well, from the people that I talk to, like, because my wife is a big Doctor Strange fan,
Yeah.
right? Like she likes RDJ, but and how like his role in Iron Man. But I think for the two of them, one of them played a better Sherlock. Drawing a blank there.
Yeah.
Well, didn't the series kind of drop off during season 3?
Well, they teased that Sherlock was dead. So I mean,
Was that at the end of season 2 or season 1?
A spoiler alert, by the way.
Oh no! This I have a rule with spoilers. I am not accountable to the fact you're not watching shit and keeping up with stuff. That's not my fault.
This literally just came out.
Yeah, unless it's something. Yeah, Friday Night Tights said we do spoilers unless it's something we like. Then
Yeah.
we're gonna like wait and try to, and we're not gonna spoil it for you. But if it's something we hate, yeah, you're gonna hear about it.
But back to Star Wars thing.
So the director was saying that she was like, it's time that a strong female person was leading the story with Star Wars. And I was like,
And the reason being, it's 2024.
it's
current year, so we need a woman.
I would like to introduce her to Princess Leia.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, in the past decade, Star Wars has been female-driven. You got Kathleen Kennedy running the whole company. You got a couple showrunners that she forgot to mention that actually directed TV series and whatnot.
Yeah, they put a chick in everything and made her gay.
And it's Rey.
And it's Rey.
It's another woman.
They
Your
killed
shit
off,
sucks.
They killed off all the guy characters.
I don't even care that like it's woman driven. What I really don't like is if you put up
It's
if
the
you
female
go to
message,
YouTube and
the
you
feminist
type in lightsaber battle between Obi-Wan and Anakin, you're gonna get this beautiful choreography,
Masterclass.
like just beautiful lightsaber fight. And then you type in Rey versus Kylo.
Swinging batons at each other.
Yeah,
and that's it. And that's it. That's the whole fight for 20 minutes.
Just wide, dramatic, overexpressed
and I'm like,
swings.
it's not fun to watch. I don't care if she's a woman,
Plus, why
a
are
man.
you exhausted swinging a lightsaber? It has about the weight of a wiffle ball bat.
Right. It's light.
Why are you exhausted? That kid is I like that. What's his name? Adam something?
Driver.
Adam Driver. I like Adam Driver. I think Adam Driver is talented. I think he's not in good stuff. I don't at all think that's his fault. But I think it's his publicist or like his manager's fault for putting him in crappy stuff. But 65, that movie where he was like going back in time to fight dinosaurs. I was like pissed. I hated. I like that.
I was gonna watch it the other night, and I'm like, fuck it.
But I'm like, Adam Driver is like why? Why were you in that, dude? Like that movie
For the money.
For the money.
He makes a lot more indie stuff, smaller films.
It reminds me
those
of
are good. That's what I'm
who's
talking about.
Harry Potter's actor.
Daniel Radcliffe.
Daniel
Like he's
Radcliffe.
always in like B class movies.
He's
Like,
in
that's
wacky
like his,
stuff.
That's like his favorite stuff. Like he's too famous as Harry Potter, So anything else he goes in, he's like,
Right.
well, I'm gonna be recognized. My favorite
That's
one is
fine.
when he's got like
Recognition
the
is not a
pistols
problem.
like welded to his hand,
Akimbo or some shit
Yeah,
like
like
that.
do Akimbo. Like it's such a bad movie, and it's definitely worth a watch twice. Like it's so good. Like he's in such bad movies, and he makes them good because you're like
Was
Harry
that like
Potter's
the
strapped.
Swiss Army knife one or whatever, where
Yeah.
he's like a dead body throughout the entire thing?
Oh god.
Yes, like
Yeah.
so
That's a
I don't know.
thing.
You can be in bad movies just because you want to. I think.
Yeah.
Like
Just do it 'cause
I think
it's
there's
fun.
an appeal to it because like if
It's fun.
like Star Wars, there's this standard, and if you don't hit it, and like we're talking about it now. No one's talking about Duel Akimbo being a bad movie.
No one's talking about Duel Akimbo. that's the problem. It's not.
Well, that's
It's
what-
not being measured. It's not like it's not a movie
I'd rather-
worth measuring.
I'd
It's just
rather
not
have
being
that.
made.
I mean, if I had all the money in the world and I could just do what I want, I'm gonna be in a movie that's fun that I could just be in and not be like, oh, it's
That's
gonna
what
be
Nick
all
Cage
over the
is-
news and dramatic.
That's
you
what
know?
Nick Cage is doing. Just
Yeah.
makes a shitload of movies every year, and they're all wild and wacky and
Yeah.
stuff. And
You're gonna star.
he's living
as
his
the,
best life. So
You're gonna star as the robot companion in my live action film. He dies. No, I'm just kidding. he dies.
He unplugs himself.
No, but I am working on a screenplay for that. That's and you can be the robot if you want to be.
Deal.
It'll be fun.
does this Star Wars thing almost seem like they're like tripling down after the South Park episode came out?
Kathleen
About the
Kennedy's.
Panderverse?
She introduced this director into the frame. Like she's the one who brought her in.
Yeah, like 8 months ago for a separate project.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, let's do a Ray movie. It's like, oh, let's bring the feminist chick in it that has never directed anything but documentaries.
I think it's a deflection, and I think it's a really good deflection because I don't know what they're deflecting from.
I don't know.
But it feels like a thing that would be a deflection. Doesn't this feel like there's something more important going on we should be looking at that we're not right now because we're paying attention to this nonsense?
Yeah, there's like a list that came out, but
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like, does it feel like we should be talking
My
about...
TikTok is full of that. As last time was an episode, I'll talk about TikTok. My TikTok is full of it because Stephen Hawking's on the list.
oh yeah.
And the memes of that,
He's
hilarious.
getting laid.
There's a Simpsons episode of Stephen Hawking where like his chair turns into a helicopter and then he picks up Lisa.
Oh my god.
Flies away.
They knew.
But it's
Well,
before its time, man.
We should... I don't want to get into the list stuff. I just want to make a point that... I just wanted to make a point that...
This isn't a political podcast.
It's about to be.
Exactly.
No.
I just wanted to make a point that this isn't news. It's a new person. She's a new, very powerful person at Disney in charge of Star Wars. But it's not like this wasn't going. It's not going to change the result of anything. We were still going to get a woke Rey trilogy. It was still going to be a female director. It was still going to be female writers making crappy jokes. No one's going to go to the movies. It's going to become a bust. This is all going to happen no matter what. It's just weird that our eyes have been pulled. We're Sauron focusing on the battle when we should be looking at Mordor. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? It's crazy how...
Well, we're looking at this and interested in this because we run a,
I'm not disinterested. I'm not saying I'm disinterested. I'm just saying, what are we missing here? There's some other
this is
reason.
a pop culture podcast. That's why we're interested in it.
I'm interested. I'm
You can also look at the other things.
What other things? That's what I'm saying.
The
It's
most
so-
important things.
no, we can't. We can't look at the most.
No,
important
I'm not. Yeah, we can. Just we're not going to talk about it on this podcast.
Yeah.
We should start a different podcast for that.
Oh, third-party politics.
There we go.
That's
That's
a
the next
show.
channel.
That's a show. That'd be a fun show. I would actually like to do that. That'd be kind of fun.
We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it. This director, do you think that? Okay, so obviously they hired a new director.
Oh, she did direct a couple of episodes of Miss Marvel, besides documentaries.
The Disney Plus show that was a
that
masterpiece.
nobody watched. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
She-Hulk.
Oh, She-Hulk. There was some rumors that the She-Hulk actress was getting was going away. I don't know if that's true or not.
Well, they're not going to make a season 2 anyway.
Yeah, but I mean,
It was announced, but they've
An
announced like season
unsuccessful
2s
show
for
is
everything.
Not getting a
so.
sequel. Wow,
Ahsoka-
I'm so shocked.
Ahsoka may not get a sequel.
I think they might have just shit-canned it. I'm not sure.
Well, so what is her name? Rosia Tario or something? What's her freaking name?
Rosario Dawson.
Thank you. Rosario Dawson was in an interview on a podcast where they were asking her, like, where are we at with Ahsoka 2? And she said for the last month she's had almost no contact with Disney or any of the cast, and some of the other cast were on panels and stuff at certain comic event or at certain cons and stuff like that. But they haven't had any connection. She hasn't had any connection to Disney for a few months now.
Well, that's
Since
because
season
Dave Filoni's getting his own movie.
Dave Filoni.
I think it has something to do with Mando. I'm not sure. It's hard to keep up with. Because they announce stuff and then you just never hear about it again. Like
Yeah.
Ryan Johnson was supposed to get a trilogy. Dan and Dave from Game of Thrones were supposed to do some stuff.
Oh man, whatever happened to those two? Are they still doing
I
stuff?
don't know. Maybe they're just like not relevant anymore.
Right. Do you remember when? Okay, so do you know who? Can you say it again? It's Dan and
Dave.
Dave.
D&D. Dumb and Dumber.
Okay, so Snipe. Dan and Dave were the writers who had the helm for almost all of Game of Thrones.
Okay.
You've seen it, right? Game of Thrones. Did you tell me this on the podcast last time that this was
I
like the
think
show
so.
you haven't seen?
Like one that I want, but I haven't. Yeah.
Okay. So, but you acknowledge that Game of Thrones was a cultural phenomenon.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So there's no confusion there. So Dan and Dave are not singular. They're heavily responsible for the success of the show.
Okay.
Going on for the first 5.5, 6 seasons. There's some debate about whether
Then they ran out of source material.
Yeah. So
they had to make up their own shit. And it got worse and worse and worse. And then season 8, they kind of just fast-tracked everything because they got this insane deal with Netflix. And so they just made the worst season of television ever produced. And now no one's heard of them. Heard from them since 2019.
Yeah.
Really?
It wasn't just the one contract. So Netflix was reaching out to them while Game of Thrones was wrapping up. So Netflix reaches out to them to direct content for Netflix, original content for Netflix. Disney was reaching out for them to direct a Star Wars project. They wanted them involved in Star Wars. At the same time, HBO, trying to hold them in place, was offering them more money for Game of Thrones. They offered them more seasons, more time, more money.
HBO and George R. Martin wanted like 3 more seasons.
Exactly. They were supposed to get to like season 11 or season 10 in order to finish Game of Thrones proper, but they never but they abandoned the project they wrapped it up so abruptly that they even had a Starbucks coffee break and left a coffee on set, and it made it into the final cut of one of the episodes.
And a water bottle.
I've seen that online, the picture of the Starbucks cup, yep.
But that was so there was such a huge uproar about the way they
Season 8.
abandoned the project that they actually had a change.org petition go, and they got almost 2 million signatures that say remake Game of Thrones season 8 with competent writers. That's how hard the community hit them.
Wow.
I mean, I think the
You thought the ending of Lost was bad.
the original goal of the petition was like 250,000.
Yeah, it was insane.
It was ridiculous. So I mean, people hated the way season 8 ended so badly.
2019 was a good year. It had
Content,
yeah.
especially the May of 2019 before COVID and everything.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was the thing.
That messed with my perception of time there.
So
for the Star Wars thing, I think what it always comes back to one thing, and it's always money. Because what it reminds me of is, they're always talking about, like, well, when RDJ's in a movie, he gets this just ungodly paycheck, and all the other female co-stars get nothing. And I've never even heard of these female co-stars. It's, shocker.
Yeah.
Right.
But then it's like the WNBA right now. We want money, and they don't bring in revenue.
Right.
They get a higher
sell tickets.
They get a higher portion of the overall WNBA than the NBA players get on the NBA side.
Yep.
But there's just that much more money where they're just making a lot more money.
Well, the NBA, not to derail you, you'll keep going with your point, but I'm just saying the NBA subsidizes the WNBA's existence.
They had to.
With no NBA, there is no WNBA.
Yeah.
It can't stand on its own merit.
Yeah, but it just comes down to money, and we want strong female successful leads. And they're just doing such a bad job of it, because I'm not opposed to a strong female lead. I love Princess Leia in Star Wars. She's a great female. She's part of the main cast. You can't have Star Wars without Princess Leia.
There's a misunderstanding from modern writers
Bad
and creators
man.
about how to create a good strong female character, though. They don't know. You couldn't. If you said your assignment for today is to just simply tell a 2-page story and clone Ripley from Aliens, or Eowyn from Lord of the Rings, or Princess Leia from Star Wars, just make this again, they can't do it. Their brains can't register the idea of strong female characters because they don't understand femininity in its conception.
Because it has to be. Because right now it's women just have to be better than men. That's just
exactly.
That's what it has to be. And so it just ends up being bad. And 2/3 of Star Wars fans are males, I believe, is the statistic. So
if it's even that small, I would be surprised. 2/3 seems small to me.
I actually just watched a video today, and that was the number that they pull out of thin air. All statistics are fake.
Right.
How do you get that accurate? But let's say it's 2/3. Be generous and say there's a lot of women. Now that raise a female lead, but you're still pissing off 2/3 of your dollars, and that's all you care about. You're doing a bad job.
Well, it's interesting that you have Star Wars loyalists who are like your friend,
ex-friend, but yep.
Like your ex-friend who actually like what is being put out right now, and then you have Star Wars loyalists who you have two factions of a loyal fan base fighting for an understanding of where the world needs to be right now with Star Wars content. So yeah, I would consider myself one of the Star Wars fans that take offense to all of this content they're creating, and the fact that it seems intentional the way they're twisting and warping and changing stories, changing characters, changing the way things interact with the world. I mean, and then you have your ex-friend who like where everything's going, and it doesn't make any damn sense. It's not a matter of is your friend a dullard? Is he an idiot?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
okay.
That's why we're not friends.
In other context, I'm is he generally stupid, or is he?
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
I
name him. Out him on the podcast. Let him know. Don't do it.
Just some you'd question. You'd be you'd have to ask him 45 or 47. How many chromosomes? Because you don't have 46. Something's wrong here. So.
Oh my gosh. So, I think we've talked about Star Wars. Do you think it would have changed anything materially about this whole situation if they had hired a male director that said, "If I'm making my female audience members uncomfortable, I'm doing my job"? Do you think that would have made anything materially different?
You want to see a show get canceled in 2024? Well, I want all whites and all males, and that show will never come to existence. You can't say that.
Hold on, I'm trying to think of one example, just a single example that could exist that would not in modern day. I'm just trying to think of one all white cast that's just straight people, and I think it's just Lord of the Rings.
Harry Potter. Sarah, am I missing something? I think those are the two.
There was two black people in that one.
Oh,
yeah,
that's right. Those Slytherin boys.
Yeah,
we gotta swap one of these out.
The black dude in that one.
Yep. Shoot. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, I guess there was that also that one politician guy who was from Wakanda in Harry Potter.
Oh yeah.
What?
Yeah.
He was a part of the Order of the Phoenix. He was like, we're gonna need more ones on this side of the castle.
Yeah, I admit, Dumbledore got style. That guy.
Got style.
That's the guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
Kingsley.
we're gonna need more ones on this side of the castle. Where is the diamond? I'm sorry, that's not the same actor, but I felt a call.
It was good.
That was my religious.
It was like a
moment for the
tickle
day.
in the back of your throat. You just had to get it out.
It was. It's like, you know how some people speak in tongues. Sometimes I speak in little schisms. I don't know.
Just randomly quote a movie
Where is the diamond?
from 2005.
What a great movie, though. I mean, Blood Diamond was amazing.
Yeah.
I haven't seen
What a
that in
fantastic,
a long time.
fantastic movie.
Probably since then was the last time I saw it. I'm like a watch a movie once and done kind of guy. So if it's an old movie, if I've seen it, it's probably back then.
I'm kind of that way now. There's way too much content out there to go back and
I want you
rewatch.
to go. Like I watched Indiana Jones for the first time a few weeks ago, like the first one. First time ever watching it. I've seen like the Crystal Skull one when that came out.
Oh, why?
That was the first one.
That's the first one I saw.
First one I saw. So I watched
That's
this one.
That's your entry to Indiana Jones?
My family's
Yeah, why do you
loves
think it took 20 years for him to get to watch the good one?
I watched it and it was good. My issue is, and like this is like I'm really bad at this. If it doesn't visually look good, I'm not gonna like it. I don't like watching old anime for
I'm
like
the same
Cowboy
way.
Bebop. I'm like, why am I? Like, there's some good looking stuff out there. Like, why would I watch this? I'm the same way with movies. I'm like, why am I watching this from the?
It's like watching something with wearing an old pair of glasses or an out of date prescription contacts.
Yeah,
it's
I'm
like
like,
everything is worse.
Why
It's
is it
hard
so
to watch.
grainy? Like,
Yeah.
it's just bad.
Why is it grainy and slow? And why is he going?
I
"Ah,"
love
for like
Harrison
6
Ford.
episodes?
He's awesome in Star Wars. I've never seen him as Indiana Jones until that, and they have that new one that just came out now where they CGI'd him to look
Oh,
young
they
and
did?
stuff.
Oh,
I
yeah.
haven't watched it. My father-in-law did, but
We avoided that one.
I
Like
think the
plague.
Nazis go back in time and fight Romans in that one or some shit.
Oh my gosh!
I might
don't
want to
know.
watch it now. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I like when things sound awesome on paper, but then you go watch and you're like, wow.
I like how they put the header in the frickin' trailer though. They say, he stole it from you. Who stole it from him? Who stole it from him? She's like, that's called capitalism. I'm like, you fucking bitch.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge, yeah,
Oh.
she's a fun one.
Like you're an idiot. That's all. First off, capitalism is like one of the few things. Fuck, I gotta shut up.
Well, I'll help you.
You're going
So
on
what
a
I don't
tangent.
understand when it comes like to Star Wars is why do the fans have to get punished for the political views of those running the show, right? They want strong female leads, and there's no way these people aren't on the internet and looking at the backlash and going, "Wow, I made something really good." Like that's
I
just
think
not
get off
happening.
on all the hate.
Is that what it is?
I
Like, are
think
they
so.
just like sadists?
It's
And
like they're just
that's
jealous
like,
or whatever.
like
that
she-
kind of
not getting her
attitude.
bean flicked, and so that's how she's getting it off. Is
I
like-
think it's
like the
Right.
bad words.
I have a deep take on this. I think it's jobflation. I think you have. So Disney, I think last time I looked, had over 200 something thousand employees when you consolidate all of the different things together. I think, and the majority of that is middle management. So the amount of micromanagers, the amount of people who are padding statistics in order to prove that they have a day job. You have the people who are going on TikTok and saying, oh, here's a day in the life of this type of person. I go in, I have a Starbucks because I need my energy for the day. Then I have a rest and a nap. And then I have yoga. And then we have a brief meeting. And then I have this, that, and the other.
You mean the adult daycare companies?
Exactly. the
And now
adult
we know
daycare
why
companies.
Twitter fired 80% of their workforce
Yeah.
and is still running.
That's how they could, because Twitter was operating at a deficit for a long time. And
Well,
it's-
another point to the Star Wars thing, though, is they're getting that ESG money. As long as
True.
they keep on ticking boxes.
Yep.
they're
And I
getting-
mean, it was like, what
well,
was
and
it?
they got like BlackRock on their side, and they're huge.
It was Echo.
man.
So it was Echo. They were doing like one of those like interviews with the cast members, and one of the cast members says, "Some people think that this is just us like checking boxes in this movie, but really it's just a strong female character who's native to the native population, and then and all she does is check boxes for like 2 minutes straight."
Right.
It's
As a hearing privileged woman,
oh.
I was like, oh my god.
We're doing well. Hearing privileged.
Yeah, she said that.
Yeah. It's called person of hearing.
Oh my god.
Or normal. Or
normal.
We'll take normal for 500, Alex. Person of hearing. It's these people.
It's hard to watch content nowadays.
Yeah.
And that's like my fear is, I've got 3 kids. It's like, what can I show my children?
Anything before 2016.
Well, yeah, but then it's like the same. I don't. When I was growing up, I hated watching old movies. Like, unfortunately, that's just old content nowadays.
Yeah.
Right. So it's hard for me.
Well,
to do stuff, and that's where like I'll give Disney a little bit of credit. Disney Plus has been a phenomenal. Like, Netflix is dog water. Their kid content is horseshit. It's just bad.
Do you know about the Proud Family reboot debacle that happened?
No way.
Okay, so let me. I think we've talked about this in a previous episode, so I won't hammer on it. You know what the Proud Family is, right?
Yes.
The Disney show.
I watched it all the time growing up. I just watched it again the other day. I showed my kids, and I was like, I gotta turn this off.
They had like half of an episode dedicated to talking about slavery and
Oh,
the
yeah.
injustices of white people.
Slaves built this
country. And they did that for about 5 to 7 minutes, like half of a full episode. They were doing this whole thing for like a school project or something. And it was like this, what is it, like jazz poetry or slam poetry or something thing they were doing. And it is
Oh, it's cringy.
It's horrible.
It's cringy.
Well, it's horrible. It's like, and the only reason I ask is because the new Louder and Prouder Family or whatever is on Disney Plus. If your kids scrolled across that and found that, you would have no idea.
True. Very true.
No. Now, I'm not saying anything about that. There's just for people who are not politically driven in their in their day-to-day conversations, and I think Daily Wire has done a terrible job of promoting this. But they have Benki, which is their children's content platform, and they're just politically neutral kids' stories shows. So if you weren't aware of that, I thought I'd just tell you that it exists.
We are a Bluey household, if you're familiar with Bluey.
I've heard of Bluey. It's not
Australian, like, BBC show, and like there's no politics, but like
BBC show? I call bullshit on that.
I think it's like the Australian BBC,
Okay.
so it might be like BC. I forget the acronym that it is, but it's Australian, and man, like there's like Siobhan, my wife and I, we'll cry. Just straight up in tears because like some of them, oh my god, like there's one because it's a kid show. It's a kid show.
Yeah.
But it's like you can watch it as a parent because like parents have like this issue of like, am I an adequate father and stuff like that. And the show does a great job of like, this is how kids should act. But it also is like, hey, you're a parent. This is how tough it is.
Yep.
And like one of them, the mom dog, her name is Chili. Her sister comes over and they have to teach Bluey that, she wanted this onesie, but she was too big, so they had to swap onesies, and then they're playing. But Bluey really wanted that one, so the kids are learning, well, I want that, but, well, sometimes you can't have that. And for the parents, Chili's sister can't have kids. Oh. And they don't, like, outright say it, but they're like, why is Aunt Brandy, or whatever her name is, why is she so sad? Well, you know how you wanted this onesie? Well, there's something that Auntie wants and she can't have it, and then it's her playing with like bingo. And oh my,
that's some deep shit,
dude. It's like
Well, I mean,
super,
like,
and
the
it's
line-
a kids show. And there's no politics, but it'll just make you feel better. Like if you can't have kids, if you do have kids, the back of their car is a shit show, like mine is, as you were able to see. Like they make parents feel good. I love Bluey. That's
when
like
people who have organized like nice stuff say their stuff is disorganized and shitty or like it's messy.
they want to throw hands.
I was like, it makes me frustrated. I'm like, dude, your car is not messy relative to like your house, your basement, your everything. I was like, your car is the one thing you have that's clean. I'm just messing, but no, there are definitely kids pieces of content.
There's
that,
good
like,
stuff out
Lion
there.
King is
the U.S. is really on this political stream. Is my thing though.
Mm-hmm.
Like you look at this Australian show and it's phenomenal, and then you look at this American content for kids and it's political.
I had a pretty intense argument with someone the other weekend about like what emotions you should feel like in content. Like what is a good.
Is this the New Year's fight?
Yeah, we're not naming, but it's we had a big argument about why Blue Beetle wasn't good, and I just asked him, I was like, what did it make you frickin' feel? He's like, laughter. Like what the fuck does that mean?
I was pretty drunk during this. I don't remember a lot of it.
He's like, laughter, and it was funny, and it was action-packed. I'm like, yeah, that's what happened. But, like, where's the emotion in it? It's like, it's funny. I'm like, that's not fucking... It's a reaction to something, maybe joyous. Maybe you felt joy, but you didn't fucking...
You felt laughter, or did you laugh?
I was...
What do you mean you felt laughter?
Well, and I'm like, this is a perfect example. Like, you described a story that actually has, like, some deeper meaning and like, it's probably still an enjoyable, good episode, and people still have fun watching it, but it actually makes you feel something. It actually tells a good story. And that's what I mean. That's what I like when I watch content. I don't care if something is a little dry or slow. If I'm in there and I'm feeling something and having a good time and enjoying a good story, that's what I want from a good. That's what I want for a good story. This Star Wars nonsense, I don't know what anyone should feel from this.
Like you lost your wallet. You put money in and you got nothing out. I mean, you got scammed. That's how you should feel scammed.
Exactly. It's ridiculous. I'm Star Wars. I think that the one good thing that's going to come out of this Star Wars trilogy with Rey is that
it's just one movie.
The Lego
Isn't it a
Star Wars
trilogy?
game.
I thought it was.
No, they have 3 different projects coming out. A Mando one, one that takes place like High Republic, I think.
Okay.
Whatever the fuck that is, I don't remember.
I did hear about High Republic.
And then the Rey one.
Okay. So not as good, still good. That a Rey film.
Well, it's gonna bomb like the Marvels did.
That's what
But
I'm
it's
saying.
going to be really awesome in the next Lego Star Wars game because those are always good. Because they just make fun of things.
It's gonna make it
Those
impossible.
are really quirky.
It's gonna make it impossible for them to hide what's going on now, because on Disney Plus you can hide.
Yeah,
your
you can
numbers.
hide numbers.
You can't do that as well on. I mean, you could still do it, but you can't do it as near as well. And I mean, people know when no one in their community, no one around them went to see something because they're like, "Hey, did you see any good movies lately?" No, I saw nothing that was good, and I only saw one film.
I went to a movie this year and I don't remember it.
Meanwhile, like I liked like most of the films we saw this year, I actually enjoyed.
Like the Marvels. You said that was awesome.
2023. Yeah, the Marvels was great. Yeah, no, I
It's
think
the only time I walked out of a movie just angry.
I think the best movie I saw in theaters this year was The Creator. I loved
Do you like that more than Op?
Yeah. Not for different reasons. Oppenheimer is a better film, but The Creator did a lot of things I really liked. It touched on a really
I don't like that they can't get a is it a Grammy that the movies can get? They can't
Oscar.
get one. They can't get an
Oppenheimer?
Oscar. Yeah, they can't get an Oscar.
Yeah,
because
I-
they
They don't
don't
tick
have
all
a
the boxes.
diverse cast.
Right.
Nope.
Kiss my ass. It's white people in a white movie. It's how it's supposed to be.
Historical movie.
Welcome to historically accurate film making.
Yeah.
There was a black guy.
Fuck.
There was an Indian guy.
I hate that. Like I don't
was a
get really
Middle-
mad
Middle
about
Eastern
things.
guy.
That imagine having one of the best movies out there.
Yeah.
And you can't get an Oscar because it's not diverse because you didn't like.
You didn't lie about how history works.
Yeah,
Nobody
that-
really cares about the Oscars now anyway.
You-
So
it's on-
Well, but
unwatchable.
okay, you know, it's kind
I
of
know
like
what you
CNN
mean.
news. Like only old people care about it. It's kind of like the Oscars. Only if certain few people care. But it's it's prestigious. It's something that you should want to. It's a goal you can work towards, and he just can't for a great movie. And I just think
yeah,
that's
now
shitty.
there's a bunch of limitations to.
I'm a
Like,
little
Yeah.
surprised that there's no like third arm of Hollywood reaching out saying, "Hey, we're gonna, it's not gonna be as big, it's not gonna be as flashy, it's not gonna be as expensive or luxurious or anything, but we want to critically think about these movies and apply some rewards or some awards to people who have earned them.
You get an Oscar Jr.
Don't feel obligated to don't feel obligated to show up to our minor league award ceremony, but we appreciate your work that you've done.
Yeah.
Here's your award for this category.
They can't even get acknowledged for being a good movie there because they weren't diverse. Like the fact that they can't. And like if they say, "Oh, and here's Oppenheimer," they would have won, but they weren't diverse. I mean, I feel really shitty then, like.
a bunch of honorable mentions that are actually really good.
Yeah.
Then you have Christopher Nolan, who, first off, I'm going to say I'm glad to be on Christopher Nolan's side on this topic. Christopher Nolan does like physical media, and he insisted that he guaranteed that there will be physical copies of Oppenheimer that are out. And I am going to make sure they're already out. I just haven't been able to get my copy because they were sold out at the local store. So I got to get them online, but I will get my physical
Sold
copy.
out, really.
Yep. The physical copy.
Wait, who's carrying physical copies these days? Because I think Best Buy is dropping them.
Well, Best
And I
Buy
think
still has them
Walmart's
today,
dropping
but
'em.
I think a lot of stores are.
I think they're dropping a lot of physical media.
Well, I think that what'll probably happen is if content creators, like if a director of a film or producers of a film want to have a physical medium like Christopher Nolan does, it will probably find itself on some sort of end cap or like just stack them like thing at the register. It'll be
4K Blu-rays are gonna like skyrocket in price.
Oh, I would be fine with that.
It's gonna be back in the day when you had to pay like $100 for a Betamax.
That's the thing I would collect though. I would collect physical media.
I would too.
I like.
I
physical
should.
media.
I stopped doing
I don't have
it.
the space. I have 3 kids. No way, brother. No way.
That's how you should do your movie nights. You should just be like, here's a stack of movies. You kids argue for an hour and a half about what movie we're gonna watch.
I do that, but
That's
instead of
your
like
whole
looking,
night, and the kids get to stay away.
I hand them the remote, and then they go between like Netflix, Voodoo,
Yeah.
Hulu. Like,
They just
it's
keep
close
scrolling.
enough, you know.
I think so I want to move on to like the Tetris topic and just knock that out real quick. So Tetris was defeated by a human for the first time since its inception. There are people that Snipe has brought to my attention that are trying to take that accolade away from this kid because he technically didn't do it when he literally did. So
the last level, because of how it's like Pac-Man. There's so many, like there's not a max level, but once you hit level 255 in Pac-Man, you'll go back to level 1 because there's 8 bits of memory.
There's
zeros
it's
and
coded,
ones, right?
Yep.
That's true for Tetris. So at some point you're gonna hit that 255.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't hit that, how can you say you won? You didn't hit the last level.
Well,
How can you beat a game if you didn't hit the last level?
So
That's the argument.
Well, the way you so what is the way you defeat Tetris? The way you win against Tetris, because Tetris is designed to be like an unbeatable game. The only way to beat Tetris is for the code to break. He broke the code by winning enough. He didn't have to I don't understand where this idea that there's this council of Tetris people who like decided that 250 was the milestone that he needed. 255 was the milestone he needed to hit. I do not subscribe to that. These people have not earned my respect like this kid has. This kid broke the Tetris code by beating the game
Which is nutty.
enough.
It's
That
super
is-
cool.
It's the first time it's ever happened since its inception, and I think it was Tetris 1986. So like a human being has never defeated Tetris. There have been AIs coded and programmed to do it, and I'm sure AI have no problem beating the game at past 255. But the milestone is the only way to defeat Tetris is to do this thing. He did that thing. That's the accolade that he earned.
I'm impressed. Obviously, I mean, I'll hit level like 20 and I'll move on. Like this kid, the way that they hold the controller and then they tap it. I'm like, it's impressive. Like
It really is.
It's like Mario speedrunning. Like to me, it's like that's fake. I don't know how you found that out.
Well, and he's a 13-year-old kid too.
It's wild.
Actually, he might not be, and he might get banned off of Twitch because you have to be 13 to be on Twitch. And he might have lied about his age.
Oh, so
there's
it's even more impressive.
There's more controversy.
Dude, I like this kid.
That's awesome.
This kid's a rebel. He's like, I will not comply.
Yeah.
Like, I like this kid.
Yeah, I'm 13 on paper. I'm 13 online.
Yeah.
The Joan of
identify
Arc
as-
can lie about her age, but we can't online.
Yeah,
Cool.
just tell Twitch you
Thanks.
identify as 13.
Yeah,
by
that's
their
the
own
hell's the
laws
difference.
and logic. They have
People used to lie about their age to join the military in the 40s, and
or to
here
get
we're
on porn
lying.
sites. Yeah. Or to get on. Are you 18?
18.
Yeah, just
Yes.
says yes or no.
Are you 18? Tap yes to see all the naked women you could possibly want for free.
No, fuck off.
I'm not 18, but I'm not 18, internet gods. How dare I? I can't do it. No, it's
It's impressive, and he should be happy, regardless of age. That's an accomplishment.
so-
that not anyone else can.
You hear that
admit.
one? There's this one like anchor or journalist or whatever from Sky News that was reporting on. She's like, "All right, cool. Go outside and touch grass. This is not an achievement."
Yeah, and then
that's
she
why people are so talking about this
and then
so
she
much.
awarded the kid that plays darts, like immediately after.
Oh, jeez.
Like cool. So
Today's the day we're just awarding nerd stuff.
yeah, so darts is cool because you have to like drive to the location and
'Cause
then
you're
you're still
there in
inside.
person?
Like what the hell? Oh man, yeah, I did
Yeah.
see that.
People bowl a perfect game all the time. People pitch perfect games
I wouldn't say all
pretty
the time.
often.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't say all the
mean,
time.
I mean,
No,
like,
but
hey,
it
I like
happens.
bowling, and I've never
But I'm saying that these things that in
happen.
sports
It's not
are
like
remarkable-
unknown. Yeah.
Yeah, it happens. Tetris has literally never been beaten by humans before. Even if you don't care that it's this kid, or if it's someone who's literally grinded Tetris for 30 years trying to make this achievement, it is history. It is history, and it's really, really impressive that a young kid programmed his own brain well enough to break Tetris.
Yeah, it's super impressive.
The genetic code that had to be passed down for thousands of years led to this kid beating Tetris.
We've made the perfect human.
It's
the Germans thought
We're
they
done.
were on it, but we got it first.
We got it. Let's quit.
But I think the reason I'm so passionate about this one is because I grew up with parents who were just always talking and playing Tetris. Like, my mom loves Tetris. Dr.
Really?
Mario loves that shit.
My parents hate video games. My grandma had a Nintendo.
My grandma was super into Pokemon when it came out.
Really?
Yeah.
My
No
grandma,
way.
That
my
was
grandma would
cool.
sit up in her sewing room, would finish sewing, turn around, turn on the CRTV, and put on some Tetris. And I'd sit on the floor. She's in the rocking chair, and like that. My grandma had a computer before us. My grandma had internet before my family did. Like
If you want to play N64, you got to go to Nana's house. We play Pokemon Stadium.
She had Duck Hunt. She got that for us. She's like, "You guys want this?" And I was like, "Yeah."
My grandma's like really into the Bible.
It's kind of her thing.
It's kind of a big deal. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I
laugh.
love my grandparents. I love them all so much. It would be pretty cool if my grandma was into Pokemon or if my grandpa like played Tetris with me. That would be pretty damn cool.
My aunt
Your
and uncle.
grandpa's really into COD.
my
Brings back the war days and
My
go get him, Charlie.
aunt and uncle play video games. They had N64, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2. They'd kick the crap out of me and my older brother at there's this fighting game called Bloody Roar. If you ever played that.
Oh man.
You fight and like you can turn into each character, like one's a tiger, one's a gray wolf, one's a bunny, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Oh, they would kick the shit out of us and then wonder why we got mad.
I actually got to a point where back when you were playing on consoles like that were like the PlayStation 2, the GameCube, all the old consoles wanted you to play multiplayer, but they could only do it with split screen. Mm-hmm. And all of my friends, including some people who were in the room with us, called me a cheater because I was looking at the same screen they were, and I couldn't.
No, screen watching is a thing, and you're a cheating whore.
No, it's not. We're all looking
You
at the
pay
same
attention
screen.
to your little square.
No, you.
Listen, it's
It's a 12-inch TV. What were we supposed
there's two kinds of people, and this is true. Like for peeing in the shower, right? There's two kinds of people: those that pee in the shower,
Yes.
and those that fucking lie. There's two kinds of people that play split screen: those that screen cheat, and those that fucking lie. Everyone screen cheats. I don't care who you are.
Thank you, Justice.
How do you
lives.
not have peripheral vision? You have to be able to see it. You have eyes.
Exactly.
I'm with you, buddy.
But honestly, it was one of those things where I was.
It's just when someone wins all the time, that's when you get after stuff.
I would
was
do
so good at the game that they had to come up with reasons to nerf me.
I would
and
do-
they didn't find the cardboard with the tape to like block off the corners of the screen.
Oh, we're too lazy to go through all that.
Black Ops 2, it'd be me against my two younger brothers and one of my younger cousins.
Yeah.
In 4-way split screen. Tomahawks and the ballistic knife. And I would call in dogs, swarm,
That's always like the
100
worst
to
way.
0. Back
We
in the
need
day.
we need to do a live stream with like a 4-player split screen.
And watch me screen cheat, and I will lie to your face saying I'm not doing it. But if you have an eye camera, you
I'm not
will
even looking
see
at
me.
the screen. I'm looking at the wall.
I am absolutely looking at the screens. I don't subscribe to this idea that you can't do it.
I wish
the
I
game was
wouldn't, but-
designed for all of us to be looking at the same television. Like, I apologize that my vision can't be hyper focused on the 4 inches of screen that you've left for me across the room on a couch.
I don't even know how we one of our buddies' bachelor parties. We played Mario Kart, like a
Ugh.
drinking game with it,
You played
and it
on a
was like
65
fucking impossible to see anything. It's like what the hell?
You played on a 65-inch screen.
Yeah.
Oh,
If we're talking
man.
about the same bachelor party, is this the same guy I yelled at?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I don't actually have a problem with the guy. He's still like a really good friend of mine. Still like one of my best
Just
friends.
dumb opinions.
But I mean, like, he told me.
Hey man,
how-
you're a really good guy, but your opinions are dog water.
Well, he told me how I'm supposed to run the channel. He's like, you can't talk about a movie you haven't seen. I was like,
Watch me.
Yeah.
I talk about everything that we've talked about so far.
I mean, I have plenty to say. And
I
not
just
all of
went
it's
off
smart.
on this rant about the Oscars and Oppenheimer. Never yet to see the movie. I just know
Oppenheimer's amazing.
I just know he can't win an Oscar.
Well, so the last thing I want to kind of hammer on is the voice acting stuff with anime. We have Jamie Marchi, who is a writer, and she's the proper title for the position is called a localizer. For people who are not anime fans, the idea is that most of these anime are made overseas in Japan or in other countries. They are made with the native language that is from that country, and then they get sent across streaming platforms into other countries for other people who do not speak that language to enjoy. Typically through subs or through subtitles or dubs, which is just different language translations. And then that's voice acted out. So the title of that position, the person who does the work, is called a localizer. Jamie Marchi has been getting really beat up over this one, and I think it's well deserved, for saying that the reason she's getting criticism for all of the faulty translations she's put out intentionally is because she's a woman with a vagina. And I'm not...
That was kind of redundant.
Yeah, I know. She's a woman with a vagina.
It is 2024, brother.
Right.
Is it redundant?
Yeah.
We don't know
Okay.
anymore.
Hey, man.
So
You can only be so small-minded for so long, you know.
the fandom criticism is actually like... The fandom criticism started because there's this anime called Ancient Magnus Bride. And the anime was one of the first animes to heavily use AI for its subtitled translations.
Oh, I was gonna
of
say,
the
so
Japanese.
is she responsible for the translations, or they just had an AI do it?
So she's been in hot water for a while for like old takes that she's had too. But it's kind of, a lot of the stuff is kind of resurfacing because the voice actor and localizer community are raging about the fact that AI is going to replace them, and you have a lot of fans who are like, you guys are inserting political messaging. You're changing translations to like modernize the conversations. You're inserting words that are like super like just they're very specific to like today.
Yeah, because like with translation and whatnot, they basically just try to say the same thing while also trying to match the character's mouth. Like you watch some like
That's the hard part.
Netflix animes, and it's like they're saying something, the subtitles are different, but what they're still conveying the same message.
Well, that's
Yeah.
true in like even on like Crunchyroll, right? Like the god tier anime, platform, right? Like Jujutsu Kaisen, they've had a few examples where the AI translation's wrong, where rather than Malevolent Shrine, it was Malevolent Kitchen, and the whole episode, the memes that came out were hilarious. Like, oh, it's because he's cooking. I was like, that's awesome. It was super good.
Well,
but in one of them, the sub is he talks. There's a guy in Jujutsu Kaisen called Todo, and he's got this like awesome quote when he reappears in the show. And then in the English, they had to add a couple words to the
to try to create the same impact.
Not even for the same impact, but because his lips were still doing this. If you'd say the same thing, it would have been like, like us. And his lips would have moved for like 3 more syllables.
Yeah.
And so they had to add. And so like there's occasions, and I understand that, where they have to add. And so it's not going to be like, you can't watch the Japanese subtitled version and have the same wording in the English because the syllables don't match for the same words. So that's always going to happen.
Subtitles actually are different than dubbed in that context because subtitles, they're speaking Japanese. There's no way around it. You're hearing the extra syllables and you're seeing the lips move. You're only reading the translation with subtitles.
Yep.
So subtitles don't need... I know what you're saying about the Jujutsu Kaisen thing. Very specifically that, because
that one, yeah.
Now, this is also like very, very new for translations to come to the screen being used by AI. The reason you're going to have so much of the fandom praising this idea is because these localizers have been using this opportunity to insert political messaging for a while, and their translations are so bad. The big one that Jamie Marchi is in trouble for is She's in a show called Dragon Maids, something Dragon Maids. I don't remember exactly what the title of that show was. I'll see if I can find it more quickly. Yeah, I'm not gonna have a fast find on this one. But so she's in the show, and she's in the show. Her character is kind of this ditzy, like big-chested girl, and she goes in. She knocks on her friend's door, opens it up, and she's wearing something a bit more humble. Her friend's like, "What's that about?" She says, "Oh, I've just been tired of the patriarchy, and so I've just decided to change things up." That is obviously not from the show.
The patriarchy.
I hate just that word.
It's such a weird word. Like
These people, this is what people are complaining about. It's that stuff. The
Yeah.
idea that so that won't exist in the show, or at least it's going to be much easier to catch with AI. And I do think that AI can get better, and I think it should in this context. I think that you wouldn't need AI in this industry if localizers weren't doing this shit. But because localizers won't stop,
Fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
You lose your job then.
exactly. And
well, they would do it anyway. Everything's about the dollar amount. What's cheaper, the AI or localizer?
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
Okay.
like this would happen regardless, if you ask me.
Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. So yeah, that's from 2021. It's been out for a while, so there's more episodes. But this stuff, the Ancient Magnus Bride, they just came out with like the second season only a few months ago, and so that one has the fact they're using AI for that show's subtitles. I don't personally care. I understand. I accept that it will be wrong, plenty, but I do know that there won't be this intent behind it. Mm-hmm. I understand that much. I would rather suffer faulty translations and contend with it than feel this like very direct, purposeful messaging.
I feel
behind
bad
it.
though because obviously I'm going to keep going back to the Jujutsu Kaisen because it's just really fresh with me because I'm fully read up on the manga and stuff.
Yeah.
Like if I made this, I'm going to call it work of art. Like for me, this is like what I've been doing, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of history to the person that wrote Jujutsu Kaisen, and it's a work of art. And then you have a show made about it, and like I'd be like, head over heels. I'd be so happy. Yeah. And then they're like, we're going to speed through this as fast as possible because we're MAPPA and we have 17 other shows, and you're just like, we got to move on. So, yeah, we're going to accept this mistranslation. I'd be like, this is shitty. I would just have a very bad personal opinion on the use of AI if it means it's going to be incorrect. I'd rather have a localizer that takes their time and properly does it. I don't want this political patriarchy bullshit either. So I just want it to be good.
But that's what studios are contending with.
But it's just the dollar amount. The faster they get it out, the more money they make.
Well, I think a lot of the issue is that the anime industry has skyrocketed in popularity because the American markets are not creating anything that can fill the gap for good storytelling. So the anime industry is now trying to fill like 8 times, like 10 times the normal market. The demand for content. People are spinning through whole shows in a weekend. Or in a day.
Thanks, COVID.
So, I mean, people are just eating this content up so fast, and there's no way to keep up. Like, I don't empathize with the struggle of the studio unless it's like what happened with ReZero, where their entire studio basically quit.
It's not an empathy towards them. It's a frustration because, in my opinion, they're ruining my shows because they're just trying to shit it out as fast as possible.
Yeah, they did that with, like, Attack on Titan. Yeah. Attack on Titan's a good... I think Attack on Titan is probably a better example of this because the change in studios was so significant. Such
Big
a
use
huge
on...
change.
Because that's when they started using like the 3D models for the Titans and all that shit. And it's like, wow, this looks a lot different. It's a different studio. Jujutsu Kaisen, it's the same studio, but it's a different director. And so that's why they went with a different art style. Yeah. My Hero's been pretty consistent.
My Hero My Hero's suffered a lot from these movies they've been putting out.
The movies, yeah.
The movie. So Studio Bones is the studio that does My Hero Academia, and the fandom is like raging at them because the sky is blue. Sorry, that was a joke.
I don't get it.
In the later series, in the later half of the series, it's kind of a darker society at the moment. It's like things are going wrong and going bad. And in the manga, you had the black and white, but the tone of the setting was so clearly like it's raining out, it's dark, it's depressing. And Studio Bones keeps putting a bright, vibrant blue sky in the background of every one of their scenes.
Oh, really? I haven't
fucks
seen
with the tone.
I haven't watched the last season of it yet, but I'm fully read up on it. So
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about for the tone. I didn't realize that they were.
It's severe. It's significant. And I mean,
Well, the only episode I can really think of are couple episodes that they actually went with the darker, like visually, would have been when everyone's trying to get Deku back.
And that actually was probably one of the better done times. But if you look at all of the episodes surrounding that,
When I think
that
of
moment,
My Hero, I just think of like green trees and bright blue sky. to be
exactly
honest.
right. But that's not the tone that the original creation was supposed to be. Like, it's quite clearly something else. The reason they do the green tree, the bright blue sky, is because you can add one solid bright blue sky to the backdrop of every scene, and all you're doing is working on the front layers of all the content, and it makes things a million times easier. And they wouldn't have to do that if they would stop prioritizing the frickin' movies, because the movies obviously make them big dollars, but they take that time, that energy, that resource from the show that they're creating at the same time.
Now you know why they're pushing on AI so hard.
Well, that's a big part of it. I mean,
Pisses me off, man.
I like AI for small creators. I like it a lot for small creators because
It's how you can actually,
enter the scene.
yeah.
Your quality won't be as good as the studio that spends $1 billion creating a franchise.
Well,
but it'll be.
You can have a shit show now and it still be good. Jujutsu Kaisen's one episode that I'm just bitching about with the Malevolent Kitchen translation.
Yeah.
Got a 9.9 rating, which is higher than Attack on Titan's highest rating episode, which is 9.8.
You try to fight.
Yeah. You want to go, man?
You're trying to pick some smoke.
Well, that's what I'm upset about because I thought the episode was shit. It's a
Yeah.
9.9 star rating, but if I recall correctly, when they came out, they said that episode was like 60 to 70% complete. It wasn't finished, and it still got rated that high. I'm like, that's fucked up. It's not good.
Dragon Ball Super had that problem back in the day when it first came out.
Correct. It was just bad.
Yeah, it was horrible looking show.
I thought it was fake. The first
Like, you
episode
see-
of it, I saw. I'm like, oh, this is like a fan thing.
Well,
Right.
and DBZ. I mean, that's a well-founded opinion because DBZ has so much spin-off content.
Yeah, so I was like,
Yeah.
oh, super. I was like, this, and then when I watched that episode where he goes Super Saiyan 3, and there's no texture. He has yellow golden hair. There's
Yep.
no shading. It's
Right.
flat. Skin is flat. I'm like, oh, it's. I was like, oh,
Looks
for
like a
fan animation, I was
Neanderthal.
like, this isn't bad. And then
Neanderthal with long blonde hair.
I was talking to my buddy. He's like, oh, that's the actual episode. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, it was like a half-hour discussion of me. Like, I thought he was trolling.
Like,
me.
was this leaked before they were finished?
Yeah, I was like, dude, no, this is fan made. He's, no, this is them. I was like, oh, so it's just not
They
done
got
yet.
12-year-olds drawing this.
Yeah,
one.
Super was.
Yeah.
It was just bad. Period.
Oh, it was.
Glad I watched it a couple years after it came out.
Well,
I've yet to watch it because I'm still stuck on that first episode where he goes Super Saiyan and he's one.
well, you have the manga too, which is like the manga's ran ahead so far. It's like
I'm
far ahead of the
not
show.
gonna read the DBZ manga. That's,
Yeah, because they stopped at the that last tourney.
Yeah.
everything's a tournament in that. I
I
love
know, I'm kinda
DBZ,
sick
but
of it.
everything's a fucking tournament.
Every- yeah.
Hey, I want to
do.
fight you, Cell. You're
They
gonna
do.
destroy the Earth. We should have a tournament about this. God damn it!
There's 2 separate tournament arcs in Super.
Of course there is. Everything's a tournament.
Well, and then they had the even in the Majin Buu series, they start the Majin Buu series
With the
starts
tournament.
And then when he comes back as Oob, guess what he comes back in?
A
Oob
tournament.
comes back in a tournament.
Yeah.
Everything's a fucking tournament.
Is Oob canon or is he DBZ?
I thought no, he's
GT.
He's canon. That's when Boo
No,
vanishes.
I know his story.
That's,
I was
is
just
that
like,
GT?
I think it's GT.
I don't think that's
No,
GT.
he's in
That's like yeah.
he's in DBZ.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
'Cause I haven't
canon.
watched GT and I know about him.
Well, he was in the game that we all loved.
He's in the show.
Yeah.
He's canon.
They're like, hey, that's
wish
Boo reincarnated.
I wish GT was canon because you can't tell me Super Saiyan 4 isn't cool.
No, Super Saiyan 4 is better.
That's like, hey, we're gonna give him every Super Saiyan's like longer, blonder hair. And I'm like,
Well, now it's red or blue or white.
yeah, cool,
Yeah.
super cool.
Well, and then
versus
you have-
this drastic, like, bring the monkey back. I'm like, ah,
Right.
so cool.
Well, then you have a, yeah, in DBZ Super, now you have Ultra Instinct as Goku's transformation, and Vegeta's is Ultra Ego.
It means nothing though, because they go through like 4 different God mode Saiyan powers in that fucking series alone.
They brought Kaioken
you got, like,
back,
1,
and then they
2,
immediately
3.
dropped it. They're like, I'm using Kaioken to defeat Beerus, and then they immediately dropped it. They're like, yeah, we're not doing that. That's just bad.
We're gonna go with blue hair, bluer hair, pink hair, white hair. It's like they don't mean anything,
Nope. This is
and they
Super Saiyan.
trivialize going Super Saiyan.
This
'cause
is a Super Saiyan that goes beyond a Super Saiyan.
that goes beyond another Super
And
Saiyan.
this is a Super Saiyan.
But they trivialized going Super Saiyan because they had what the hell is their race called again?
Saiyan.
Oh, duh. Holy
Holy
shit.
brother.
Did you just
Say it out loud one more time for
Bro,
me. No,
it.
go ahead.
clip it?
that was the biggest brain fart of my life.
What is their
They're
you
Super
made
Saiyan.
me
What is their race
you
again?
made me think about it because I was caught so off guard.
I thought you were talking about someone else.
But anyway, they brought in Saiyans from another universe, and they're like, oh, it's just a tingling in your back, and then these kids end up going Super Saiyan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like immediately. It's
I liked
retarded.
it when Vegeta and Goku's kids like they're born and they
They're born
Dad, it's
awesome.
not fair. You can go Super Saiyan. I can't. What are you talking about? And then Trunks goes Super Saiyan for the first time. Yeah, we're gonna go get ice cream. Yeah, I love it. I like that the next race is stronger, even though they're like half bloods. I'm like, that's pretty cool.
Yo,
But then it just goes so goofy.
one night Cody and I were just hanging out, and he had been drinking, and I don't drink, so we were just hanging out, and we were just talking about Dragon Ball Z and how it got fucked up so hard, and how the original story was supposed to have Goku dying at the Cell Saga, and we just like ran a thought experiment of what that would look like if Goku stayed dead, and it would probably have something like
Dragon
Gohan being
Balls.
mentored and tutored by Vegeta, raising him as like, now that Goku's dead, like Vegeta raising him as kind of like in the Saiyan cultures, teaching him all the things to preserve the Saiyan race. You'd still have Goten and Trunks coming in.
I should have
And
been
so-
there because I already disagree.
Yeah,
You're
well-
gonna tell me Piccolo, stepfather number 1, isn't gonna come in?
The guy who has nothing left to teach the kid.
Fuck
No,
it.
Vegeta would
What
be
do
more
you?
like a mentor. Piccolo's
that.
like the stepfather guy.
Yeah, Piccolo can raise Gohan like he's been doing, but he's not gonna make him any stronger. He's got no more techniques to teach him.
No, because in the Super, there's an episode where Piccolo got his bullshit form too.
Yeah. That's
Oh,
the
in the
prime-
superhero Super,
no,
he got
yeah.
another one.
See, like no.
Yeah, you mean like
if
5
Piccolo-
generations of content later when
Yeah.
they get another like.
if Piccolo can advance, anyone
The
can.
idea
Oh, the
is that
power
Vegeta-
ceiling is
I want
busted,
Yamcha to raise Gohan.
Yeah.
Boo!
And then Gohan just grows up to be a pro baseball player.
This is not tracking for any of our fans who do
It
not
becomes
know
a
the
slice
deep lore
of life
DBZ.
anime
Yeah,
instead.
it just turns into a slice of life.
Like I was born as a Super Saiyan, but I spend my days playing baseball.
Well, if Goku's out of the equation, most of the story unravels the same way. Because
Does it because he picks fights?
Yeah, that's how
If
plots
he's gone,
are started.
I think if
no, it's
if,
not. No.
Bullshit.
What's the next story after? The next story after Cell is, Boo.
Okay, yeah, boo. But
That
anything
doesn't
in
need
Super,
that doesn't need Goku.
everything in Super happens because Goku just wants to fight someone that could potentially destroy the universe.
Well,
Cell
Beerus,
Cell only came
comes
back.
to Earth. Goku doesn't pick that. Beerus comes to Earth looking for a Saiyan, not vice versa. So Beerus would still come to Earth looking for a Saiyan, and Gohan would be the new chosen one because Gohan is the chosen one.
Chosen one.
I'm coming. These deep cut like grabs at references that are just unpopular as shit. Maybe that's why we're not at 1,000 subscribers yet. Ugh. By the way, if you are liking this
We're just
content, you're
too
having fun,
niche.
please make sure to subscribe and with the notification bell on and smash the like button. It helps us out a lot. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Be that next subscriber, whatever number we're at now. But yeah.
Be the next one.
No, I think that so Gohan becomes the next like main character. Vegeta becomes the Saiyan mentor. They set up some sort of Saiyan colony on Earth. Maybe they introduce a couple of Saiyans who've survived the universe and as side characters. Doesn't have to happen, just could. You have Gohan leading the charge with maybe a new villain. Trunks and Goten get born. There's debate about whether the fusion technique should exist. I
Would
think it
Goten
should.
be born?
Goten is born. Yep.
There's too much plot armor in that show because you can die and then, they come back to the Earth and they just got the halo.
The Dragon Balls.
Then, you don't need the Dragon Balls. Goku has just come back to fight in a tournament while dead.
Yeah, he just
like no matter how dead you get.
Same with Frieza.
Yeah.
Exactly. They just come out with halos, and then when they get summoned back, the halo. There's one where he's like still there on Earth, and then they're like, "Can my dad be alive?" And then the halo just fades away.
You know
Do you know what I'm talking about? Happens.
Frieza's hell in the show would very much be my hell in the show. Like if Frieza, like the big bad in the show, like is like trapped in a cocoon in hell, but he's surrounded by a bunch of dancing fairies in a very peaceful garden meadow. And they're all just
You know what mine would be, and I get this actually kind of frequently, is being in line at the gas station, just trying to pay for some shit while someone's buying lottery tickets in front of you because it takes fucking
You
forever.
should be allowed to throw hands.
Yeah, and then the person
Just
behind
legally.
you is talking to someone on speakerphone.
Oh God.
I'm gonna.
And you're
I'm gonna
just
start
there
shooting.
trying to buy pretzels.
Yeah. So then I started blasting.
Call an ambulance.
There's so much. I like Dragon Ball Z. It's like what I grew up on.
Yeah.
I could argue all day
I have
that
so many
Bleach
problems with the
power
show,
scaling
so.
is like better. But like, hey, Vegeta, put this earring on. We fuse, but it's the other fusion, and we never go back to normal. Hey, fun fact: they go back to normal.
Yeah.
like there's so
There's
much.
zero consequences.
There's
in that
zero
show.
consequences, and all it is how can Goku be a really shitty father to his kids and get stronger? That's all it is. That is Dragon Ball.
Well,
in
and what
two
sucks
sentences.
is Vegeta has one of the best arcs like across the show.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's Toriyoshi, right? I think is the creator of Dragon Ball Z.
I can't remember that.
It's I'm sure I got that wrong. I'm sure I did. But he actually hates Vegeta as a character. He never wanted Vegeta in the story after the Saiyan story. So I mean, the Planet Namek stuff. He was not supposed to be very relevant in that. He was supposed to be a much lighter character, but people just loved Vegeta as a character.
Weird.
And then he stays alive through the Cell Saga. And then his best story, like arc moment, is when he's fighting Buu after going Majin, and he knocks out Trunks and Goten and saves the day and fails. That's a freaking amazing arc. I love Vegeta's arc.
I do too. It's so good.
And then that should have been the end of Vegeta.
Well, that's what I'm saying though. If Vegeta became a mentor type character, and Gohan was raised without Goku relevant, Piccolo raises him, whatever, stays as like a father figure, but Vegeta like trains him as a mentor. You have Goten and Trunks come up. Vegeta can go out the same way, but stay dead in the Majin Buu, and then Gohan can become the savior who saves the day.
Goku could. The reason that like Goku could just like die and not come back and nothing would change story wise is because like with Oob, he just comes like he's like, hey, I'm leaving.
I just had an amazing revelation that neither
Doubt
of
it.
you will care about because neither of you have watched GT.
I've watched GT.
Oh, you have? Mm-hmm. If Goku was dead and not a child, Dragon Ball GT would play out the exact same way if you replace Goku with Goten.
Agreed.
So that's another reason I'm like,
Yeah,
you can still play the GT story.
Baby
Baby is my favorite villain. Baby is my favorite villain.
super good.
I love Baby as a villain.
But Goku as a father, like when you're like nothing would change, you know, like oh Vegeta would mentor. He goes away to train Oob.
Yeah.
He's Chi-Chi, raise the boys while I'm gone, and then he left.
And he's always gone. I'll come back once every 10 years to give you a new child.
You know, in your argument, like, oh, he could die and nothing would change. Like, you are right because that's what happens now.
I'm always right.
Like, he's a deadbeat dad and doesn't pay child support.
Well, how does he even have like? He's never kissed his wife,
That's true.
Goku. 'Cause
I don't
there's,
know
like,
Not
if
on
you.
the lips.
There's some sites you can go to, and they are fully animated.
Oh yeah,
And they're there kissing, brother.
they're all in my bookmarks. But
We're gonna hold on.
There's an episode or whatever where Vegeta's like leaving Bulma and he kisses, and then Goku gets all grossed out or whatever. It's like, dude, you have 2 kids.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I know that. I know that exactly. Just
Artificial insemination.
I'm gonna throw this in there. Like we're not touching. I'm just gonna throw it in.
okay. So we're gonna keep talking, but I think we should wrap up the podcast.
And that's how we end it.
And with that, that's how we end it. All right. Thank you guys so much. If you guys had laughs with us, please make sure to smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new with the notification bell turned on. Share the video around there. Let people know what we're doing. We're having a lot of fun here. And we will see you guys on the next one. Peace. Kamehameha.